Donald Trump believes that Mexican immigrants are murderers and rapists. But what about my parents, Donald?
Texas used to be part of Mexico. Now, I'm ninth-generation American. My family never crossed a border. The border crossed us.
On most days, I'm scared. I'm scared that at any moment, my mom and my dad will be forced to leave.
All of that from last night. The speakers on behalf of the Hispanic community. The topic of immigration was front and center on the floor last evening. Helen Aguirre is the RNC director of Hispanic Communications. And looking at these numbers, Helen, you've got your work cut out for you.
Absolutely, I sure do. And thank you so much for the opportunity of being here. But there's no question about it that immigration reform, it's a very difficult and painful issue on all sides. At our convention last week, you saw another side of the story, where you saw moms whose children were victims of violence and death in the hands of undocumented immigrants. Now, that's not to say that they're all bad. There are good people and bad people everywhere. But what we are saying is that immigration reform has to be dealt with smartly. For so long, we do it just the other way around. We make legal immigration hard and illegal immigration easy. And then we're surprised by the outcomes. So what we need to do is just do it the other way around. And we need to make legal immigration easier, smarter, and illegal immigration harder. And that also includes, a border security. It's part of national security. In 2007, they called it a fence. Today, we call it a wall. But what we have to do is really work with this smartly and listen to voters. It's not just those who spoke last night, but there are those who are also on border states who have to deal with the unfunded mandates that the federal government doesn't have anything to do.
For many of us, it doesn't affect us in the same way, clearly, as it does people who live in those border states. Let's put some of these numbers up on the screen for the folks at home to take a look at. This is white registered voters. And you've got 57% for Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton 36%. Now let's take a look at non-white registered voters. And you see that he is way behind, 23% to 69%. But did they not do a good job of making the RNC as diverse as it could have been? You look at these numbers, 11 of the 24 speakers last night were people of color. Last week's entire 4-day RNC had a dozen speakers who were people of color over the stretch of 4 nights.
Well, there's no question that we have to do a better job, and we actually really have, which is why we were so successful in 2014 in winning so many governorships and state legislatures. We took back the Senate. You can't do it without having a strong coalition and having Hispanic voters to join and be a part of that conversation.
But how's Donald Trump doing at that? Because we talked about Florida and the number of Hispanics, the population that has risen dramatically all over the country and in Florida. Is he doing the work he needs to do?
We have just begun the fight when it comes to the Hispanic.
Not that much time, right?
And there really isn't. I mean, when you started this out, you said, that we have our work cut out for us, and we really do. When you look at that 23%, that's our baseline. That's and from there we have to move up, which isn't so bad when you consider that in the past, you've had others who have just reached Mitt Romney 27, 28%. So we start at 27, but Donald Trump is going to have, he was going to have a meeting a couple of weeks ago in Miami with a diverse group of Hispanic leaders, pastors, business leaders, elected officials, and because of the tragedy in Dallas, the nation was in mourning, and so it was appropriately postponed. It is being put back on the calendar so we can do that. And we have heard from so many Hispanic leaders who are saying, we really support him. We want to have a conversation. But there's no doubt about it, Martha, that people want to be spoken to. And Donald Trump's indicated that he really does want to, and he will.
All right. We will see. Helen, thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice speaking with you. Thanks for being here today.